Hi, I'm Jacqui Jones from Netconcepts and we're at SMX Sydney, and today we're speaking with Danny Sullivan. And so welcome to Australia and welcome to this side of the world.
It's good to be here. I'm squinting and crying because it's so bright today. So
it is extremely bright. Well, thank you for your session today on blended search. It was very interesting. We have some questions that we'd like to ask you from the team back in the US, one of which is about images. And so when you actually do a site query command in image search, right, will that actually bring up all the images that are typically indexed by Google?
I honestly don't remember. I'd have to go back and sit at the computer and take a look at it. You're saying that if I do a site colon and that domain command and I'm in image search, does that narrow it down?
Yes.
I want to say that it does, but sometimes the site command can be funky when you try to use it on some of the vertical searches. So I'd have to take a look and see.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so can we then assume that if that is the case, does that mean that only those images would be displayed in blended search results?
Yeah, I mean, if those images aren't in Google image search, they're not going to be showing up in blended search results. So that certainly is a good way to find out what's likely to make it.
Absolutely. And so images from Flickr and other image type sites would actually display in blended search results as well, won't they?
That's right. I mean, if you have I believe that Google can crawl Flickr and pick up the material that's over there. I don't think that they've blocked it, though you don't tend to see a lot of Flickr showing up on Google. And then, of course, at Yahoo, it's the opposite. They favor the Flickr photos. They've been pulling in the Flickr things. So certainly if you're trying to do with blended search at Yahoo, you want to have a Flickr account.
One of the observations I've made is that the content or the text on the page actually puts the image into context, and that actually affects the ranking of that image. Do you think that's the case at all?
I believe that that's what certainly Google has said, is that the content of the page can be associated with it. Usually it's the words that are very near the image. Definitely the alt text. You know, they're very explicit about the alt text being important as well.
Okay, great. So we're seeing a lot more other types of web assets and media appearing in blended search results, such as video. Right. So how would you go about getting your video to rank in Google? Is it a matter of just pointing links at that video on YouTube or on Google Video?
Well, in terms of blended search, they're hitting both YouTube and the stuff that's on Google Video. As I was talking about, some people feel like they're favoring that content. Since a lot of these places allow you to take the video content anyway, I would just go and put it out on as many places as possible. If you can have it on YouTube and you can have it on MySpace Video, why not put it in both places? You can always choose to promote just one of those if you want to go with it from there.
Okay, but if everyone is doing that, so if a whole range of businesses in a particular industry are all putting video onto YouTube, Google Video and other video sites, how do you actually make your video more important in the search results and more relevant to that search query? Is it dependent on the ratings or the number of views of that video in YouTube, or is it simply having some links with good anchor text in it linking back to that video?
I honestly don't know what Google has said in terms of when they hit the blended search, how they're making that determination. I don't think that they're using things like the YouTube ratings. And the reason I'm fairly certain they're not doing that is because they couldn't use those YouTube ratings and then fairly weight all the other video content that's out there as well. I would tend to think that it's going to be much more a combination of looking at the metadata from the video that they have that's been reported, as well as looking at the anchor text they're pointing over.
Okay. So, I mean, we know that local search and maps is, it's huge on the internet, and it's made a huge impact on what people are seeing in search results and where they're going to. So, again, once maps and local search starts to become more popular and more businesses are actually are being listed in local search, how do you actually make it to the top 10 listings that are displayed there? Again, is it based on reviews or links going back?
Well, there's a ton of factors that come in. The proximity to, say, the city center, if you've just done a generic city search that's coming up with it from that. Certainly the words that are in the listings, the title of the business name can have an impact, and that can bring you up there as well. In some cases, like I think with Yahoo, that they did say that ratings can have an influence as well. I can't recall if Google said the ratings happened. I mean, local search tends to be a very, very complicated creature in terms of all the factors that kind of flow into it.
So, the next question is really on a personal note, and I don't know if you've heard that on blogs recently or on the news that some bloggers they have had heart attacks, or a couple of A-list bloggers have had heart attacks, and it's because they haven't had a balanced life. And I know for you, you're busy traveling the world and blogging, and you're online all the time. So how do you actually keep balance in your life?
Well, I mean, I kind of saw that story in the New York Times and thought it was a lot of bull, really. We've had one tech writer who actually died of a heart attack. Om Malik, who runs GigaOM, did have a heart attack. I don't know that that's a wave of bloggers suddenly having, and Om fortunately didn't die, and he's well. But I think lots of people have unhealthy lifestyles. I don't know that just because you're a blogger that tends to do it. For me personally, I did notice about 2 years ago that I was spending a lot of time sitting in front of the computer, doing a lot of snacking, not getting a lot of exercise. So I suppose blogging, it's just anybody who's using a computer a lot. So I just really started thinking more about what I was eating, trying to eat less and do a lot more exercise. And it was around the time that there was actually a lot of people talking about doing this blogger diet. So I kind of got inspired by it. I remember Chris Pirillo had lost a lot of weight, and Jeremy Zawadny had done that. So it was kind of nice peer pressure to kind of think, well, I want to go out and see if I can do something better. So I guess my lifestyle's probably, health-wise has improved a bit. I'm sure I'm not the healthiest person out there, though.
So what does a blogger diet consist of?
Well, I mean, in my case, it wasn't that I was eating the wrong things. I was just eating a lot. I mean, I was doing a lot of snacking. I would get up and I would take a break and I'd have, just some candy or something like that and eat too much. And I wasn't getting a lot of exercise. So I think on the traveling, it's hard because you're traveling and you're going through an airport, and it's very easy to say, I'm going to get a candy bar here, I'm going to grab a thing there. You go into a reception here and there's a lot of food that's out, and I'll have this muffin and pick up something like that. So for me, there's just more a lot of saying no.
Very good. Just one last question. What do you think are the main challenges for search in Australia and New Zealand?
It's difficult to say because I'm not down here, and I've just, really been talking with a lot of people already. At the top of my head, I would say one of the biggest challenges are you're not getting as much support of some of the new things that are coming out. There's local that's out there, and it felt like from talking with some people that they didn't have as much support. They did have a local business owner. They were pleased about that. There's no product search for Australia, and they've had product search at Google for like 5 years now. So where, the heck is it? And it's not like the people in the room that we were talking with didn't have products to sell. There's just no ability to put it out there. So, but this is my third trip to Australia, and in talking with people, unfortunately, you seem to kind of get used to being forgotten sometimes. We'll get to you when we get to you. At least on the last trip I came out, it was still a case you couldn't even buy the paid links. So I guess there's an advancement there. They want to take your money now. You couldn't even give your money away to them at the time. So.
Well, I mean, I think your observations are right that sometimes we do feel a bit forgotten, but things are catching up and there's a lot more happening down the side of the world, which is fantastic. So thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in Sydney.
Definitely looking forward to it. You're welcome. Great.